Tavarres, what's going on, man? How are you?
Man, doing well, doing awesome, man. How you guys doing?
Dude, we are ready for a big-time college football weekend. So many awesome games coming up, but it feels like flying under the radar a little bit is a top 20 matchup between Georgia and Auburn in a game that it's a very weird series, right? Teams, a lot of times the lower-ranked team comes in and wins this game. For a long time, it was back and forth where one team would go into the opponent's stadium and win that game. Then the reverse would happen the next year. What are your memories from this rivalry?
Man, you said it. It's been a game that's kind of been a back and forth battle between the two schools. The underdog has kind of been the team that's kind of shocked shocked the dog, the big dog. But man, it's been fun. It was a fun tough battle between the hedges at times and in Jordan Hare Stadium, and I think that this weekend is going to be another one.
So, what have been your impressions of this 2021 Georgia team? I know on offense, it seemed almost like we can't give them a full review just because some of these games have been such big blowouts. We really haven't needed to see a bunch of the starters in the second half. But just as a whole, has been your takeaway from this 2021 team?
Man, I think the guys have just been doing what they've been asked to do from an offensive perspective. You know, Stetson Bennett has stepped in and been awesome. He's stepped in and been who he's been for us in the past. He's been a guy that's played in big games, big moments. I said it on my podcast. You know, he the only team that's really truly beat Stetson Bennett is Alabama, in the Nick Saban defense. Other than that, you know, Stetson Bennett has been stone cold. So I really like what he's been putting out there. But even other than him, guys like Brock Bowers, Ladd McConkey, guys have been stepping up and making plays on that offense. Now, if we're talking about a defense, I haven't seen a defense play lights out like this. Our front seven is ridiculous. They fly around. They run to the ball. I haven't seen a defense like this in a long time. Maybe not ever.
Well, let me ask you this. We had Jeb Blazevich on earlier in the week, and we asked him, as an offensive guy, how would you go about trying to attack this defense? Because you mentioned it, they only need 4 down linemen, and they can leave 7 guys back in coverage because those 4 down linemen are going to get pressure, and they're able to stop the run by themselves. You have linebackers that run 4.4s and 4.5s and get sideline to sideline, and then you got some freaks on the backside in that secondary as well. So just in your mind, what is the way to try to attack this defense?
Man, geez, I mean, I think it's tough for me to answer because I think some of the greatest football minds that we know of have struggled doing it in the past few weeks. So, but man, I mean, I think if possible, which is hard to do, you've got to be able to run on the ball. You got to be able to run the ball on us. And obviously that's with everybody you just mentioned, that's super tough to do. But if you're going to have some success, you got to be able to run the ball. But man, I don't know if that's doable.
That's fair. Tavarres King joining us here on ESPN Radio. I did want to get your perspective on this. I know Georgia has a lot of talent at the wide receiver position, but a lot of it's hurt right now. Obviously, George Pickens, and you're hoping to get Dominic Blaylock back soon, and Kearis Jackson's been dealing with the knee injury. But you also, I feel like, have a ton of young talent as well. A.D. Mitchell is starting to really grow up. Jermaine Burton, I think, is a proven commodity as well. And then you kind of mentioned the tight ends as pass catchers as well a little bit earlier. What are your overall impressions about these pass catchers? Because I think Georgia's on the edge of really exploding offensively if they can get back some of these pieces and get them healthy.
I would have to agree with that. I mean, you mentioned the tight end, Brock Bowers, and last week we got a guy back, Big Darnell Washington. I think that's going to play an instrumental role into this offense down the stretch as well. But out wide, man, we've got pieces. We've got Kearis Jackson. We've got a Jermaine Burton. We've got guys that have been there that opportunities are going to start to come as we get down the stretch. Explosive plays will start to come. They're going to get more comfortable as well. Even the young guys will get more comfortable. So I'm excited to see those guys continue to do their thing.
You played on some really good Georgia football teams. Obviously, every Georgia fan remembers that 2012 season, just how close you guys got to playing in that national championship. But we've been talking throughout the week about some storylines, and I want to get your thoughts on this. Number one, I made some people mad a little bit earlier in the week because we were talking about that 2013 Georgia Auburn game. Obviously, the crazy play to end it with Nick Marshall to Ricardo Lewis. But before that, you really got to see Aaron Murray just air the football out in the second half and bring Georgia roaring back. I still remember how many it's countless post patterns to you for touchdowns inside of that Mike Bobo offense. And I made some fans mad because I said, I think the best college quarterback Georgia ever had was Aaron Murray. I'm curious to get your thoughts on that.
Man, it's tough not to say that. My man Sticks was out there wheeling and dealing. Statistically, his numbers are up there. And Murray, man, he was the guy that you wanted to play for. He was the guy that we rallied around. So I would definitely say that.
See, I got Tavarres King's approval. Now I know I'm right. Another question is,
don't worry about what these people talking about.
That's right.
Man. My guy Murray's the man.
I got TK's approval. I'm good. We also were talking, and I think this is fascinating because we have a show that comes up at 3:00 with Ben Troop, who is a Florida All-American, and he loves talking about playing against those early 2000s defensive lines from Georgia, like Richard Seymour and the guys like that. Obviously, you had David Green and David Pollock. But then obviously the 2017 team that went to the national championship game. I'm curious, you stack this 2021 team up against that 2017 team or against that 2001 Georgia team. Which one do you think has the most talent? Because there were so many NFL dudes on all of those units.
Yeah, I mean, a heck of a lot of NFL talent on that 01 squad, as well as the 2017 team. But, man, again, I haven't seen guys getting to the ball like we're getting to the ball from a front four perspective. And when you make it hard to run the ball in this league, when you shutting down a Sam Pittman offensive line and making them look like they're non-existent, that's eye-opening, dude. So I'd have to say these dogs are the dogs.
And the major storyline around college football has become, it seems like there's a clear separation between Alabama and Georgia and then the rest of college football. We've been talking about Texas and Ohio State and maybe how we buried them a little too early because both of those teams are looking really good. But in your mind, is there a separation between 1 and 2 and the rest of college football?
Yeah, man, it does kind of look like it's just 1 and 2 and everybody else, and we don't know who everybody else is, man. Obviously, there's some games this weekend that'll be played that'll be huge. Iowa State game will be huge, but man, I'd have to agree with that. 1 and 2 are pretty solidified. 1A, 1B, I guess, but other than that, man, it's up in the air.
Tavarres, going back to your senior year, I know you guys lost a close game to Alabama in the SEC championship. The question I want to know is, if y'all win that game, what was your personal feelings on, your chances against Notre Dame in that national championship game?
Bro, you saw how they beat them?
Yeah.
Oh, we would have did the same thing.
Okay, that's good.
Thing, man. We would have been. The championship would have stayed in the SEC for sure.
Okay, that's what I like to hear.
Yeah, I mean, you look at that Alabama Notre Dame. I think the national championship was played in Atlanta.
Oh yeah, of course.
That year, and then that was just a crowning ceremony for Alabama. But man, we keep seeing all these assistant coaches from the Saban tree line up. You have Lane Kiffin last week saying, "Get your popcorn ready," and then you just got his butt handed to him on a platter. Like who's going to be that first assistant that takes down Saban? Because it seems like he's just going to go off into the sunset with that perfect record. That's what it seems like right now.
It's looking like it, but man, I honestly thought Lane was gonna do it last week until he said that. Until the beginning of the game, he talking about getting your popcorn ready. I thought they was gonna give it to him. I thought he had something for old Saban. But
again, catch up with Tavarres King here on ESPN Radio, wrapping it up. Tavarres, it looks like it's going to be Stetson Bennett heading in to Jordan-Hare Stadium, and something fascinating I think we're really seeing develop throughout the season is we haven't seen a bunch of these players who are playing in big-time roles play in front of 80,000 to 90,000 fans that are screaming at them, right? These guys played big snaps last year, but it was in front of 20,000 fans because of COVID. Do you think that plays a factor on Saturday where Stetson Bennett hasn't been a starting quarterback in a situation like this before? A bunch of the offensive linemen haven't been there and a bunch of receivers haven't been there. Do you think that's going to play a factor on Saturday?
100%, bro. I definitely think it does. I think it plays a factor from a communication standpoint. I think it plays a factor from just atmosphere standpoint, dude. Those, again, to your point, those guys haven't been in a full stadium. They haven't been in a stadium that's been fully capacity with a full capacity. So it's different. It's gonna be rocking. Jordan Hare Stadium is a stadium that's always rocking. It's a place that's fun to play. So yeah, it'll definitely be different. But to my point, Stetson Bennett is the man, and we rocking steady.
There we go. So with all that said, you got a score prediction for us?
Score prediction, man. I said, I don't 42-7, and I don't know, and I'm being nice.
He's being nice. He's being generous with the 7. Like, that's coming in the second half where you got the backups in and they still got their starters in.
Yeah, I'm being nice. They might sneak one in, man. Bo Nix looks like Lamar Jackson Jr. last week. he might razzle dazzle something up early on, but yeah, I'll give him 7.
Tavarres King joining us here. We mentioned earlier, still the record holder for the most yards in a single game for the University of Georgia. We were talking about that game, though, and you had another record in that game. You had the longest bowl touchdown in that game against Michigan State, and then your man Brandon Boykin couldn't let you live with it for more than 5 plays and took it away from you 5 plays later.
Oh yeah, I think we gave him a jet sweep. They should have gave me the sweep, but not. Yeah, man, that was a tremendous game. That was a fun game to be a part of. I think a game we probably wish we could have had back, but yeah, man, Boykin's the man. Murray was out there willing and dealing, and obviously I was able to be the recipient of those catches. So it was an awesome day.
Tavarres, we appreciate it, man. Wish we could see you out there lining up, catching some from Stetson on Saturday, but I know you'll be enjoying watching that game. And 42-7, the prediction from Tavarres King. Hey, man, we got to do it again. I really appreciate the time.
Oh, man, I appreciate y'all, man. I have to come on for sure.